Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our Flash Talk. Today's Flash Talk will be about student legal services. And as you can see, I have a special guest with me. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Jennifer Cunningham-Minnick. I am an attorney with Student Legal Services.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. So first, can you tell me what is the Student Legal Services Office?
Yeah, so we are a nonprofit law firm that contracts with Kent State University to provide legal advice, representation, education, and resources to Kent State students. So basically, we are a small law firm, and our only clients are students. So we are solely focused on providing resources that students need.
Perfect. And what kind of services does your office offer?
So we really try to do anything. We try to assist students in any way that we can when they walk through the door. Our most common things that we provide are landlord-tenant help. So, if you have issues with your landlord regarding like repairs in your apartment, or you have a dispute about rent or something like that, we can talk to you about it. We can negotiate with the landlord on your behalf, write a letter, and if necessary, file a case in court if it's in Portage County. We also provide representation for criminal matters if they're in Portage County. So we have lots of students, especially in the fall semester, that are picking up kind of like partying charges, is what we call them. So like underage consumption, disorderly conduct, public intox, stuff like that. So we provide representation for criminal cases for misdemeanors if they're in Portage County, and advice for criminal cases if they're not in Portage County. Those are our two biggest issues. And then kind of beyond that, it's, whatever we can help with. So we help with consumer issues. So if you have credit card debt, we can help with, if it's in collections, verifying the debt and then negotiating the debt for you. We can help if you have, like, you bought a used car and you think that you got ripped off. We can help negotiate that with you, with the dealer. A business doesn't do right by you. We can help with that. Healthcare power of attorneys, wills, estate planning, dissolutions without children. We do all different kinds of things.
That's a really broad range of services. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I see lots of viewers joining us. So just for those who are joining, today's Flash Talk is about student legal services. So if you have any questions about this office and what kind of services they provide, feel free to put them in the chat. If you have other questions that are more general about international admissions, please just email us at intladm@kent.edu. So any admission questions, we can help you with that later. But today's talk, we're focusing specifically on student legal services. All right. So who is eligible to access the Student Legal Services Office services?
Yeah, so you have to attend the Kent campus at Kent State. You have to be in a degree-seeking program. You have to have at least one class that is non-distance learning, and then you can't waive the SLS fee, which is $10 per semester. So as long as you do those things, then you can access our services.
So it sounds like the majority of the international students would probably qualify just because most attend in person at Kent. So that's good.
Yes.
Are these services free for students who meet the criteria?
So you pay a $10 fee per semester, and then there is no other further fee for our representation. If we have to file something in court on your behalf, you have to pay the filing fees. If you have a criminal case and you're given a fine and court costs, you have to pay those, but you don't have to pay extra for our services.
Wow, that's great. So what are some situations that the Student Legal Services Office can help with? You mentioned a few earlier, but what would be most common for you?
Yes. So, our biggest two issues are landlord-tenant issues and then criminal. So landlord-tenant, repairs, disputes with your landlord, and criminal. But then some like other things that maybe you don't think about, but like, let's say that you were in an abusive relationship and that person who's not a Kent State student is not, like, they won't stop contacting you. We can assist you in getting us what's called a civil protection order to make that so that person does not contact you anymore, as long as it's in Portage County. If you think that like someone owes you money, we can file a small claims case on your behalf against that person, as long as it's in Portage County, and sue them for that amount of money that you owe, or they owe you. If there is, like, if you have a dispute with like a large company, like I just had a case with Verizon, and that they did something fraudulent or deceptive, we, we'll write a letter to Verizon, negotiate with them, and then we can also, if they don't get back to us, we can file a case in Portage County. So we try to do like a wide range of things. We also do really popular thing, maybe not as much for international students, but for freshmen, is healthcare power of attorneys. So that's a document that allows somebody else to make healthcare decisions on your behalf if you are unable to do so. So we can help you with that. We can do financial power of attorney, just general notary services, stuff like that.
Awesome. Just a reminder again for everyone today, for questions about admissions or scholarships or visas or any of that, please just email the international admissions team at intladm@kent.edu. We're happy to help you, but today's topic is more about student legal services, so we won't be answering any of those questions today. But if you have questions about the Student Legal Services Office and what you can access there, please feel free to drop those in the chat. All right. So are there some situations where the Student Legal Services Office is not able to offer help?
So we don't, and this pertains to international students, we're not immigration lawyers. So we cannot really advise you about your visa status or negotiating, OPT or things like that. We can, I always tell students, like, you might as well just make an appointment with us because it's free. So we can try to talk to you a little bit about it. We have a referral list, and we can try to get you in the right direction about other attorneys that might specialize in that matter. But immigration is something that we don't practice.
Perfect. Okay. So what information do you think international students need to know, especially regarding their legal rights and responsibilities? So I know the laws can be very different in different countries.
Yes. So I think a big thing that I like to talk about with international students is that the law for obtaining an Ohio driver's license has changed. And I will show this flyer to everyone. Okay, yes. Okay, so it used to be that, if we could go to the other page, actually, I think, okay. So it used to be that you always needed an Ohio driver's license to legally drive in the United States in Ohio if you're a resident of Ohio. An international driver's license doesn't work. But the law has changed just recently, and there is more requirements now for you to obtain an Ohio driver's license. So this flyer kind of talks about those requirements, but so you have to get a temporary learner's permit. That's something that you always had to do, but there's a new requirement now, and it's called completing driver's training. So you have to do now an online portion and then an 8-hour behind the wheel instruction. And the cost of both of these programs are $650 together. Wow. So this is something that I like to alert international students to specifically, is that it's expensive. And it's going to take a little bit to get all this done. And also there's kind of a wait list right now for completing these driver's education classes. So if you don't have an Ohio license, and you are planning on driving, you need to start the process, get on the wait list, start saving up money or something, so that you can do all the requirements and legally drive in the United States. Another thing is you have to have car insurance when you're driving in the United States in Ohio. So, make sure that you have car insurance. If you are pulled over and they find that you didn't have insurance, they will suspend your license because of that.
Okay. I see some people asking about this flyer. So if you would like a copy of this flyer, we can send it to you. Just email us again at intladm@kent.edu. We're happy to send that. I know it can be a little bit hard to read sometimes on the screen, so we can send that to you if you have questions.
It's a lot of information. If you have any questions, you can always make an appointment with us and just see the flyer.
Perfect. It looks like we do have a question here. Let me pull this off so we can see a little bit better. So someone is asking, how about someone who already knows how to drive but just needs the license? Do I need to go for a training school again?
You do. Yes.
Okay.
It's not really about if you know how to drive. The law requires that you have to do the certain requirements to get a license. And so part of that is the online class and then the in-person behind the wheel instruction.
And it looks like we have another question. I think we answered this, but just in case they join late, they were asking if we offer help with housing contracts or disputes with landlords.
Yes, we do. Definitely. That's a huge thing that we do. So, and I'm not sure exactly what the issue is, but like we will, if you haven't signed the lease yet, you can always bring the lease over to us, the housing contract, and we can review it with you and talk to you about the details. If you have a specific issue with your landlord, we will definitely help you. Make an appointment with us and we can talk to you about it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. So your website lists some tips for people who are planning to live off campus and renting their housing. And many international students do end up living off campus. What are some of the most important things they should know?
So, the first thing I would want to say is that entering into a lease with a landlord, in my opinion, is one of the most financial and legal and important things that a college student does when they're becoming an adult. So, and that is because a lease is a financial contract between you and the landlord. And it's not something that should be taken lightly. It is an you are saying you are going to pay the landlord this amount of money over this period of time. And the landlord says they're going to provide you this space to live in, a safe and habitable space for that period of time. And if something comes up where you're like, I don't want to be in Kent State anymore. I want to transfer to Ohio University. Or I don't want to live here in the summer anymore. I'm going to go back home or something. You cannot, that's not a reason to get out of your lease or terminate your contract. The landlord doesn't care and the law pretty much doesn't care. The law says you signed that contract and you are on the hook for that amount of money to the landlord. So that's why I think that it's important that I try to talk to students about, like, don't hurry and sign a lease. This is a very important legal document. It's on the hook for a lot of money. If you have co-signers, it's, implicating them as well. And you want to thoroughly read your lease before you sign it. A lot of times these leases are really long. They're like 50 pages. So if they're hard to read, you can always make an appointment with us and we can go over the lease with you. You should try to tour the particular unit that you are going to rent, or at least a model unit that you're going to rent, because we have a lot of students that have never toured anything of the apartment, and then they're surprised when they move in, but they already signed. So it's important to know, what am I moving into before you sign the lease? And then just some other things, like when you move in, make sure that you make a checklist, you take some pictures, you send that to the landlord, make sure that you are noting the conditions when you move in, when you move out, so the landlord doesn't say like you were responsible for that broken refrigerator shelf when that was the way it was when you moved in.
Perfect. We do have one question here. So just to clarify, Kent State does offer on-campus housing if you want to go with that option, but many of our students do like to live off campus. So we were just talking about options to know about that. But if you would like to live on campus, you can definitely do that as well. Just a reminder again, we're not answering any questions about applications or admissions today. I see lots of questions about scholarships and that kind of thing. So for questions about that, please email us at intladm@kent.edu. That's the international admissions email. And we're happy to help you with those questions, but that's not what today's sessions is about. So if you have questions about student legal services or what they offer, please feel free to drop those in the chat and we'll answer them. Thank you. Okay. So many of our international students are also unfortunately targeted by financial scams while they're here in the USA. So how can they best protect themselves in these situations?
Yes, we get people making appointments for this all the time, and it's horrible, heartbreaking. A couple tips that I just give everyone is typically what happens is you get a phone call, and these people are very good. They're like, they're professional scammers basically, and they do this all the time. And so they have figured out exactly what terrifies people enough that they would, separate themselves from large sums of money and give this person large sums of money without even knowing them. And so generally for international students, especially in this climate, it's something about, your visa revocation or your SEVA status, that is the exact fear that they can pinpoint. And we're in a particular time right now where you can be, there's a lot of concerns about that. And they exploit that. So the tips that I give people are, first of all, if someone calls you, I've had people where they said that they told them that they were ICE agents, that they were outside of their apartment, that they were going to come in and arrest them and deport them if they didn't give them like thousands of dollars. And they did. The person gave them thousands of dollars. It didn't happen right at once. It happened over a period of time. But what happens is the people will not let you off the phone. And that is a big tip, is that, hang up the phone. The reason why they don't want you to get off the phone is because they don't want you to like have a second to think about this and be like, this is crazy. Like, this isn't normal, or talk to someone else about it. So, don't be so scared that you don't hang up the phone, take a minute and breathe and think about it, because that is part of their kind of scheme, is that they pressure you so much, and they won't like typically they will be on the phone with you while you're going to the bank, withdrawing the money, and then going to put it in the Bitcoin machine or something. So that's not normal, and you need to get off the phone. So that's the first tip. The second tip is, often also there's usually like a good cop, bad cop situation on these phone calls. So the first person that contacts you is going to be like the bad cop, the ICE agent saying they're going to deport you or something terrible is going to happen to you, and they're going to scare you. And then someone nice will get on the phone and they will say that they are on your side, like maybe they're a human rights lawyer or something like that. But this is how you need to negotiate this. You need to give them this money and this will solve it. That's normal. I mean, that's what they do, but that shouldn't make you feel like this is okay. That's just part of the scheme. And then like kind of the last tip is, they are always asking for money in Bitcoin or gift cards. So anytime anyone's contacting you on the phone, asking you to withdraw large sums of money from your bank and putting it in the Bitcoin machine, or getting a gift card and then giving them the number, that's a red flag. Stop, hang up the phone, talk to someone about it, call the police, and check in.
Okay, we have a couple questions about housing here. I'll answer as best I can, but we do have another housing flash talk that was done a little while ago, so feel free to check our old videos. But people are asking what's better for international students, whether they should live on campus or off campus. There's advantages and disadvantages to both. If you live on campus, you have easy access to your classrooms, to the transportation services that we offer on campus. You get a bunch of other benefits like security and that kind of thing that we offer on campus. But some students do prefer to live off campus. They want more privacy or more space and that kind of thing. And that's understandable. But you do need to consider how you're going to get to campus, especially for international students who may not drive. You're probably going to have to use a local bus. And then you are also signing a legal agreement, as we were discussing. So you need to be careful about what you're signing and what you're agreeing to. We really recommend waiting until you get to the city of Kent before signing anything, just to make sure that you're not on the hook for any money. So it's really kind of up to you. You can explore your different options, but that would be something you'll have to decide for yourself. And then someone is also asking if we offer these services to off-campus students. So yes, Jennifer was just talking about that. They help a lot with students who are signing agreements with landlords if they have any disputes or anything like that. So as long as you meet the criteria that we discussed, I'll have Jennifer talk about that again in a minute, then you are able to access these services, even if you live off campus. Can you remind us what the eligibility requirements are for students?
So you have to attend the Kent campus, be in a degree-seeking program, have at least one non-distance learning class, and then not waive the $10 SLS fee.
Perfect. Thank you. Again, I'm seeing a lot of immigration and questions and scholarship questions, so please direct those to intladm@kent.edu. We're not answering any of that today since we're focused on student legal services, but we're happy to help you after the talk today. All right. Does your office have legal information available in languages other than English?
Yes, I think we do. We're very focused on providing services to students. So if a student makes an appointment with us and they say that they need this document that's in a different language, we will work with you. We will figure it out. We'll make sure that we can get that to you in another language that you can understand it. If we need an interpreter during the meeting, we will do that as well.
Perfect. Okay. And what's the general process for students to access your services?
Yeah, so you just need to make an appointment. There's various ways to make the appointment. You can make an appointment via our website. You can call our office. You can email us. And then you just make an appointment. You can pick like which attorney you want to talk to and what time. Then we will email you and ask you to fill out some forms, and then we'll do the appointment.
Okay. Here's a good question about the financial scams that we were talking about. They said they're a little bit concerned if they get bullied by either real or fake ICE agents. So they were wondering kind of what they can do and who can help them in these situations.
I mean, it is scary. I understand. I think like those tips that I just told you. So like, don't give money to people. Don't take out an amount of money in cash and give it to somebody else in Bitcoin or gift cards. The reason why they're doing that is because then those transactions, they're not reversible. So never really, just a guideline, like don't give people money in Bitcoin or in gift cards. And then also, anytime anyone is calling you, threatening you, and putting you in a really scary situation and they won't let you off the phone, that's really a red flag. It's not normal for this person to you're on the phone with them while you're at the bank withdrawing the money and you're putting it into the Bitcoin machine. The reason why they are doing that is because they don't want you to have a second to think about what's going on. So always hang up the phone, take a breath, call the police, call our office, something like that. People will help talk to you about this.
Yeah. And during the International Student Orientation, they also talk a lot about these scams and kind of who you can contact, especially our International Student and Scholar Services office. They're very familiar with this happening, so they're able to help you through this process as well.
Yes.
Someone's asking if there's any situation where they would need to pay additional charges for the SLS services.
So you're not going to need to pay any additional charge for our service. You will have to pay if we file a case for you in court. You will have to pay the filing fee. So if we file a small claims case, you're going to have to pay like the $106 filing fee, any like fees associated with that case, motion, service, all that kind of stuff. So things that are related to like court costs, extra fees that we incur basically for filing your case in court, you'll have to pay that. Or if you have a criminal case and the court fines you a certain amount of money and gives you court costs, you'll have to pay for that. But you won't have to pay any more money for our services.
Yeah, that $10 is a really, really good deal. I would recommend not waiving that fee just because it can be a huge thing to have access to these services for no additional costs. So, yeah. Are there any important policies that students should know regarding making appointments with you?
We have an online system where you make an appointment and then we will contact you and ask you to fill out this form and kind of like describe your legal situation and attach any relevant documents that you have. And so it helps us out if you can just give us kind of an outline of what's going on, and maybe like if it's a landlord tenant dispute, upload your lease or things like that, because we deal with a really big range of issues. And so it helps if before we go into the appointment, if we can just take a couple of minutes to read it, orient ourselves, and know what the problem is before we talk to you.
I also saw on your website you recommended not bringing guests, for example.
Yes. So you can. International students often like to bring other friends and support members, and so that's fine. We understand that. We like to do the appointment just with the client. And that is because we don't want to waive. There's a thing called attorney-client confidentiality and privilege. So as long as it's just me and my client in the room, everything we talk about is confidential and it's privileged. So that means other people can't access that information. And so we don't, if we have other people in the room, it waives that confidentiality and privilege, which is not something that we want to do. So, you're free to bring someone with you if you need to, but just know that we're going to do the appointment in private.
Yeah. Someone just asked if we can share the website. Very good point. I was just about to do that. So this is the website for the Student Legal Services Office. So feel free to check that out. There's a lot of really good, just general information on there about leases and landlords and all kinds of different topics. So definitely check that out. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up today?
No, just, if you think you have an issue, just make an appointment. It doesn't cost any extra money. We are here really to help you. We want students to succeed, and we're going to try our best, even if it's not something we can provide representation to. We're going to try our best to get you on your way and give you some information.
Perfect. Just a reminder again, if anyone has any remaining questions that we weren't able to answer today, feel free to reach out to the International Admissions team at intladm@kent.edu. If your question relates to the Student Legal Services Office, I'll be happy to forward it. And if it's something with admissions, we can answer that in our office. We have one more question, it looks like, here before we wrap up. So they're asking if there's free or low-cost legal services available for international students beyond what's offered on our campus.
Yes, I think I understand this question, but yes, we provide legal services for as long as you are an eligible student and you have an issue. Let's say you bought a car in Cleveland and you think it was a bad purchase or something. You can definitely make an appointment for us, even though that happened off campus. Most of the things that we provide representation or advice to are issues that happened off campus. Now, outside of county, we can't file a court case on your behalf, but we can still take other actions like filing, doing a letter, talking to you about it, maybe even guiding you about how you could file your own case against that person or hire an attorney. But most of our issues do happen for students off campus.
Okay. That seems to be it for the legal questions. So thank you very much for joining me today, Jennifer. I really appreciate your expertise. And thank you for our audience for being here today. Hope you have a great day.
Okay.
Bye.